this was first performed in 1913, right?
Yes, and the enormous violence which the orchestra shows in the violence, the structure of violence, the harsh chords, the usage of the brass in all directions, augmented 6 horns, 2 bass tuba, 2 tenor tuba. It's an enormous orchestra, probably one of the biggest orchestras ever made. Sehr gut. So, let's go. You can imagine 1911, what a furore that was.
Yes.
It's still a furore today.
I know, I think everybody's shocked by it when they first hear it.
I know a lady, I hope still alive, who was there on the
Oh, really?
19 Champs-Élysées. And she said, from about 10 minutes on, you couldn't hear a note because the people said, begin to fight. Scandal! Stop it! And I said, oh, bravo! And they went on the 25 minutes run and finally hit themselves with any umbrellas. It must have been an unbelievable scandal. Never since then.
And Stravinsky got ill afterwards too, didn't he? He got typhoid fever or something. I don't blame him, actually. You were going nuts with that gong the other day.
My dear friend, that's a little bit too much on the whoosh.
No, you had another person dampening it, I guess, no?
It's hard to dampen because if you play loud...
Oh, I see. Then it sort of suddenly goes off.
There's lots of different sounds you can get of a triangle. I mean, all triangles are different, and you can play it here and get very pure sounds. Always, like, and then gotta know my triangles. I mean, that's already different. If you play it more at an angle, you get much more overtones. Also, like in the triangle, you have a lot of overtones. You play here at the edge, and if you play near the center, you have the dark. And so you have to decide what kind of colors you want, you know. And there's like some soft notes I play, and I'll play them here because I want a very nice sound. Other ones I'll play a little more.
It's amazing to see the pride that a
and
triangle player will have
muffling.
in the sorts of tones he produces and how long he can make them last and that sort of thing.
It's much funnier. The Bruckner 7th Symphony, there is a big cymbal stroke. The fellow waiting already 35 minutes until that big bang and can go home, nothing else.
That's it. One slap and that's it.
One huge slap.
Wish life was like that. One slap and then you're out and you know where you are. Why is this Band-Aid here? Is that sort of, have you modified this particular beater?
Personal from me.
Personal?
Because for contemporary music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can hit here, and then you mustn't change to the sticks. You can.
Oh,
hit.
I see. I see. So it lets you do it rather quickly.
I start at the timpani. Pop, 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 pop. Could you make a little clearer, my dear boy? Pop, 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 pop. And then swing.
Every percussionist has to be able to play practically every instrument, apart from the timpanist, isn't that right? The kettle drum player?
Yes, so the kettle drum player doesn't need to play, although they do play other instruments
Yes.
also, but they don't need. But the so-called percussionist has to play a great variety of instruments. I mean, from the family of the drum, then the triangle, then, of course, very important, xylophone, glockenspiel, vibraphone, and new development of orchestra. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's it. Now come, coraggio, coraggio. We do the one swing. What? In 1936, Bartók was still in Hungary, and got a commission for write a chamber orchestra, a chamber group in Basel. Interestingly, he calls the piece Music for string, celeste, and percussion. Doesn't mention the piano. By that, not against you.
Not
it wasn't
against me,
against you.
No,
it was just an indication that he used the piano as a percussion instrument, percussive way, and that we will demonstrate in the second movement.
I think it must be a very startling experience to listen to a piece of modern music for the first time, because I remember when I first heard my first piece of Bartok, as a matter of fact, in the mid-50s, I got angry. My impulse was to be absolutely enraged. I said, this is awful. I cannot understand it. And I only understood it when I actually saw it being played by the Juilliard String Quartet.
It could be a typical professional attitude. I have difficulties with every piece hearing the first time.
Yeah.
Whatever. Starting from Bach to Bartok, if you want. Because I don't know the piece, I don't connect, I don't see the structure, don't hear the structure immediately. It's strange. The point is that if we are not desperately tight with the 8 notes, this is a mess.
Yes.
And you are tight like hell with the pizzicato. Here we go. Once you know it well, or better than one hearing it was, you will like it. And I can assure you, you will like it, because I saw this little piece what we did. You like it.
Oh, yes, yes, I do now.
You saw the
I
point.
do now, yes, I love it now. But I still have a problem. I mean, there are other pieces nowadays that I have a problem with. And I go to Robert Mann, who's the leader of the quartet, and see him afterwards. And I say, why do you play that? I say, that's such a strangely difficult piece. He says, well, this is you listening to Beethoven, and this is you listening to modern music. You're creaking this thing over like that, instead of, going over there with, and setting up a whole new series of principles and feelings about it. And I think it's a good way of illustrating what he's saying, but I still hate it. I have to ask, what the hell is that?
A scraper.
Oh, it's a scraper. But I mean, what is this sort of mangle sort of thing? Oh, I see. It's like a ratchet?
Yeah.
What is this? I mean, isn't that the sort of thing you have in a
Cabasa.
a cabasa?
A Latin band.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Okay. Holy.
Excuse me,
That was
not mezzo forte.
mezzo forte. No, it wasn't. It was more like mezzo piano. Thank you. Yes. Is this a whip? This thing here?
Yeah, sometimes a whip or a slap.
I shall have to take this home with me. It's very, very, I don't know, thrilling somehow. I don't know what it is. I'm all of a quiver.
totally forgotten the piece. It's written for me and the Chicago Symphony, but I totally forgot. Wow, but it's a very good piece. This is a very good piece.
Luteslawski,
Okay,
which we eventually come to. It's interesting that he now says orchestral music is almost dying out. In that now we need to invent other instruments that will have a different scale. I mean, we're sort of rather tied to that, or the chromatic scale. I mean,
And noted that he wants quarter tones. Chaos is only the very end, not before. One, piano! When I saw the score, I was so horrified. I didn't know what to do with it. And he just said, oh, I called him in my despair. And I just was desperate. I just didn't know what to do with it, how to do it. I said, don't worry, I come and see you. Very simple, I explained you. Of course, it wasn't very simple. But I understood. He was very patient and very kind. And he came to the rehearsals. And he understood to transmit what he really wanted. And my musicians were not afraid at all. I was much more afraid as they.
I would imagine, yeah.
Because I just didn't know how to conduct such a piece, which some of it is not written out. Now, the last page was a great enigma for me. It was very difficult until I really understood what he meant. He just say, you don't conduct that. You give a downbeat and you wait.
That's why this pianist and I never played that last chord. We could never...
They understood where the hell we are.
Where are we? That chord came before we got there every time.
One, two, three, one.
I must say that we never actually got it right, did we, in the Luteslawski?
No.
Somehow this last chord, which was right down there. Let's do the last chord now. Where is it? Four. Perfect. Now, if they used that, I mean, that
Maybe
would
they
be
can cut the tape and put
yes,
this chord in.
yes, I have a feeling. But it was very difficult to play, and it was sort of fun, I suppose.
A lot of fun.
Are there many piano parts that you like to play in the orchestra, or is it?
Well,
there isn't a great deal, I suppose.
There's not. It's really just later symphonies, the symphonies of the 20th century. I think Shostakovich and Prokofiev used it quite a lot. But the piano is a solo instrument. It was conceived as a solo instrument, so
Yeah.
it's not used in the orchestra. I think it's used for the color. And remember, when we were playing Luteslawski, we were doubled with the percussion.
Yes, that's
instruments,
true.
so it
We
was
had a
like
lot of
combination.
whatever it was.
Yes. One, two, soft, soft. One, two. So play very romantic, like a Brahms symphonies then. Just keep it soft, soft. Gentle trumpet, gentle. Dolce, dolce. And when I did the last time, the piece and I recorded in Chicago, I said to my orchestra, you know, you should play that with the same sort of feeling as a Brahms symphony, because this is a highly romantic music. Only approach it like that, because you can play that one also very romantic.
That's beautiful what you just
You
played.
see? Okay, you play cold, but you can play something very mellow. So this is really the question of interpretation.
Yeah.
And we had very good time. We had a tremendously good time with this harsh 12 tones. And now I know.
when you dance with a nice woman, I mean,
Oh, well,
you dance with Bo Derek, and you will dance like that.
I did some of my best dancing to that.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
I think this is the big advantage from percussion. We can play all style. We can play contemporary.
Yeah.
We can play Schumann, piano concerto. we can play jazz, rock, funk. We can all play. Good music has to be sexy, you know. It has to be a good groove. We play much more in contemporary music. I mean, there's much less counting of rest. But yeah, you know, I mean, in the Ravel, it's a groove between three people. You know, with like the timpani on one and the cymbal on two and the snare on three, and you've got to get it boom, tap, boom, and it has to be right.
Yeah.
And that's a groove.
Itta. Ti. Gris, gris.
Being in a dance form, it lets the percussion sort of really.
It's the base of that piece. Percussion
The rhythmic
is a base.
side of
the rhythmic side, the percussion, also the brass string, but harps and the color. With orchestra is a marvelous showpiece.
It's strange to me that Ravel felt, after the composition of La Valse, really rather depressed, because he finished the piece of music off after his mother died, and he was in a real state about everything. But it is such an extraordinarily vibrantly optimistic sort of piece. It's sort of strange, isn't it?
No, it's an exuberant
Yeah.
piece of music, really. So I hear it and do it. But obviously it was written in a very different time for him, in a difficult time. Ravel must have been a very strange man. Absolutely well-dressed, immaculate.
Oh, really?
Little man, beautifully dressed, clear, hands manicured, finger. Absolutely immaculate. Have a nice lunch. Thank you.
I'm not sure I've got any of that, but we'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
One bar left. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
3, 4.
Volgende week in het orkest de piano. Dudley Moore speelt dan zelf de pianopartij van het eerste pianoconcert van Tchaikovsky.
1,
You were doing
2,
something.
3, 4.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hamburg Cockatoo Club. Oh, I feel the rhythm. Yes, it's coursing through my body. Yes.
Hele zekerheid voor u, maar ook voor die u lief zijn. Bel nu voor meer informatie over de AVVL en de gratis personal care card. Doen, dan is het geregeld.
Dudley Moore is zeer gesteld op de piano en tegelijkertijd heeft hij er soms een afkeer van. Hoe het ook zij, deze keer bespeelt hij nu eens zelf het instrument dat centraal staat in het orkest.
That music was from one of the most famous piano concertos ever written, Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto in B-flat minor. And this program is about the piano, this huge piece of machinery that I hate and love. Love and hate, hate and love, love and hate. Just a beat or two out. Oh. Yes, that was the first performance of
A newly born variation. On theme by Dudley and variation by me.
Yes. It's amazing how we enjoy this instrument. I mean, you've had half a career. Well, at
Not
least a
enjoy,
quarter of a
we
career.
love it.
Oh,
We
love
love
it.
it.
Sorry,
Of
I've got the wrong
course.
word.
There are two famous tunes in our literature, or three. This is one of them. The other is
No, it's not that one. It's what the
Beethoven's.
and that can sound very prosaic.
Oh, very.
Unless you put something into it, and which is really the problem with the piano, because you can get away with murder. You can play up to a certain point very easily because all the notes are there. But after that, it is the most murderous instrument to learn. It's the one that demands enormous amount of application.
And you know why? I find the piano is therefore the most difficult instrument because it doesn't sing per se.
Yes, yes.
Somebody who loves singing, as I do, that
You have to
is
fake it in a sense.
and you have to make it singing.
Yes.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
You can. I have a rather strange sort of beginning my pianistic life. Somehow I've been discovered that I have an absolute pitch.
Oh, you have absolutely.
Yes, I do. And very early, when 5 years, and my mother decided it was very difficult for us to make it because we had no money. So she engaged a teacher for me, and I hated the teacher. It was a German harp player for the opera house who always hit my fingers. And I hated him, I absolutely hated him. So I went to my mother and said, I don't want to play piano anymore. So I stopped. I stopped by 6 and restarted by 7.
Oh, so it's not a huge gap.
And you?
I started, I mean, I don't know when, but there was a piano in the house, and I suppose I crawled onto it when I was 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, somewhere around that.
Like that.
And it made nice sounds, you know.
Yeah.
But I loved sight reading because before I knew anything about harmony and counterpoint, I used to love going to the library and getting music and reading these black dots and wondering what on earth they meant. And this wonderful sound came.
But who taught you that sight reading?
Well, I don't know, I think it was my own enthusiasm. I suppose I got interested in jazz, I don't know. It was all to do with...
How did that happen?
Well, I wanted to make myself more attractive to the opposite sex. And, and that was the only way to attract them.
It was the only time when you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
When you were 6. Never since then.
Oh, to play jazz?
No, make it more attractive to the opposite sex.
Yes, that's the only time. Yes, I mean, it seemed as if, you know, a tune like An Apple for the Teacher would go down better than For Elisa, you know, or something.
Did you play it for Elise?
I didn't. I hated it so much. Everybody played it who played the piano.
Funny that you say I hated it also. I
Oh, really?
It's so awful.